I'm Literacy Specialist Mohini, and I want to welcome you to the Raise Confident Kids podcast. On this podcast, we talk about how children learn to read and write. We also talk about how to ensure that kids feel safe, connected, and ready to learn to read and write. Today, I'm interviewing Taylor Huntenberg, who is a mom of two, doula, and she's currently in nursing school. Taylor decided to sign up for Literacy Playground to support her 4-year-old with reading. This episode is going to be relevant for you if you're thinking about signing up for a Literacy Playground Foundations kit and teaching your kids using this program. It's also going to be relevant to you if you're thinking about teaching your toddler to read. Today, I'm joined by Taylor Huntenberg, who's going to be telling us about how teaching her daughter to read is going. So, Taylor, can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to start supporting your daughter with reading before she turned 4?
Yeah, I was gonna say she was 3 and she started showing a little bit of interest in
Hmm.
her own name, letters of her name. I'm sure just starting preschool, some of the kids were talking about letters, writing letters, and that kind of just sparked her interest and just thought it would be a great idea to get started with Literacy Playground.
Yeah, I think that we use the words like interested in or showing interest a lot with little kids. And the truth is that kids, in my opinion, I shouldn't say the truth is, in my opinion, kids show interest in reading when they've been read to, when there are books at home, when there are books at school, um, and when they've been exposed to letters in a fun, engaging way. So I guess what I want to highlight here is that if your child isn't showing interest in reading, that might not be because they are or aren't ready. It might also be because they haven't been read to or they don't see reading and letters as something fun and engaging yet. Before you started doing literacy playground activities with Ayala, what did you know about teaching kids to read and write?
Okay, wait. I don't feel like I knew anything.
Okay, that's totally fine. And how did you feel about teaching her to read and write before you got started?
Um, I I felt kind of lost because with me in particular, she seems a little resistant. Like she just
Hmm.
play, and I'll see her at school follow directions a lot better with people who are not her mom. But with me, it's a little bit more,
Right.
she's more comfortable with me. So there was always a little bit of resistance. So I didn't really know how to get started, but I remember from following you that if I can find something that she's into that will grab her attention, that will be like the into learning letters and letters, all that.
And I remember during your first couple of weeks, you had some wins. What did those look like for you as you were starting to do the literacy playground activities with Ayala?
Ooh, that was a while ago. Um, I just remember she was excited. Oh, when we got the box, she was so excited.
Hmm.
And then she wanted to send you and Catherine voice messages, and she'd be excited each day to do her, what's on the day's schedule. And then she would want to like write something and send it over to you guys or have me mail it to you. She was just so proud of herself, and
Yeah.
I that just it made me smile. And then if I tell her anything like that, like, wow, your work makes me so happy. I'm proud of you. It makes me smile. Then she'll be like, Mommy, that makes me smile too.
Oh, that's adorable. I know that I can relate to what you said about resistance. Not when it comes to teaching my son to read, but when it comes to feeding him. Like I always feel like, oh, he'll eat whatever's served to him at preschool, but I struggle to feed him the same things at home. So there is truly a difference between working with your kids on something at home and at school for various reasons. Like, do you feel like you were able to get past that resistance with Ayala? And does it come up sometimes? How do you handle it?
Yeah, because I've gotten feedback and I've communicated with you and Catherine throughout, like when we do have some bumps in the road and adjusting the schedule. So like I remember particularly you saying like this shouldn't feel like enjoyable. This should be
Yeah.
enjoyable. So if there is any resistance, like basically choose your battles wisely. It's not something I want to fight with her over because I don't want it to be something long term that she's resisting because she's only 4, not even in elementary school yet.
Exactly. Being consistent doesn't look like following exactly what your weekly schedule is every week. It might mean that, like, during the holidays, you just choose to do read alouds and partner reading, and you skip the writing and phonics instruction. The reason we support families for a year is because we know that kids are going to get sick, holidays are going to come up, there's going to be family things. Like, we want you to be able to be consistent for at least like 3 to 6 months out of the year, but we know there's going to be times where you have to pause and get back on track. And Ayala is also 4, right? So it's okay to take a step back when she's showing resistance.
Yeah, I think too, like at first it was my busy semester at school, and then
Mhm.
my goal was like summer, we're really going to get into it. But then, of course, I have more time. I want to spend that time doing fun things with them. But like you said, at least we just have like, it might only be one day a week, but we're still having that consistency over a long period of time. It's like, and then also just being okay with that, because for me, I could be very type A, like, no, we need to stick to the schedule. But just
Yes.
in general with kids, just being okay with it's not always going to be perfect, but also we do have a routine to follow. So it's like both sides of the spectrum that they need routine, but also flexibility.
Yeah, a lot of times when families think about teaching their kids to read and write, they might visualize like sitting at a desk with a pencil and paper, and sometimes it does look that way. What has teaching Ayala to read at home looked like for you?
Sometimes we're just coloring. She's very artsy,
Yeah.
doing art projects, and then I'll start doing some letters, and then she'll get interested and she'll be like, I want to write my name. And then I take advantage of that and I'll, hold on, it's here. I'll have, okay, you're going to write your name, and then I'll write like a word that we're working.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, oh, I forgot. What sound does this?
Mhm.
And then she'll remind me what it made or what sound the letter makes. And then sometimes she just starts it. Like I think she gets excited to show people too, and she'll just start
Yeah.
gets praised for it. So sometimes she takes initiative, sometimes it comes through artwork, sometimes it comes through chalk outside. So
Yeah.
all different ways.
I think you're really good about giving her that positive reinforcement and just nurturing a learning mindset with her. It's great that she feels like proud of her achievements and she wants to share it with her friends. Lastly, I know that since she was born, you've been reading to her. I'd love to know just more for parents of toddlers and babies, like how have you made reading and literacy a part of your family's habits and routine?
Yeah, so I did read to both of them since they were in my stomach. Obviously,
Yeah,
um, when I was pregnant with Havana, I was reading to Ayala, not necessarily reading to Havana inside my belly, but she heard that. And then I think ever since starting this program and starting preschool, those two things coupled together, it's just become one of our nightly, like one of the tasks on our
yeah,
nightly game. And both of them, even Havana, she knows, like she'll go over to the bookcase and pick her one book, which is always a book that you can feel things with, the sensory books.
yeah.
And Ayala will get her book, and then they know that both of them get to choose, and I'm going to read both of them. So I think coupled with preschool and then this program, it's just created the routine, and it's like their expectation now.
Yeah, I think as parents and caretakers, we're always looking for a few minutes a day where we're just totally present with our kids and we connect with them on something. And even if it's something that takes 5, 10, or 15 minutes, it can create those memories that we're looking for. So, one of the reasons I'm starting to do really simple literacy activities with my toddler is um, because it's fun, engaging, and it gives us a way to bond. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely like, I think that teaching a toddler to read, teaching a 4 or 5 year old to read, they're all positive when you do them in a joyful way and in a child-led way.
Yes. I wanted to add something to the first
Yes.
question. You asked me like what kind of sparked my interest in getting started with this.
Yes.
Another thing is Ayala, until only recently, she was only staying until 12:30 at school. And
Mhm.
so the afternoon is when all the kids would kind of do their letter work. And she was out on all that. So that's another reason why I'm like, yeah, let's have something solid that we can do during our afternoons together.
Right. So if you're choosing to homeschool your toddler, or if your toddler isn't really getting exposure to letter names and sounds at school, then Literacy Playground can be a good way to get them that. Taylor, I really, really appreciate your time, and we're excited to see Ayala continue to grow this year. Is there anything you'd like to share with families before we wrap up with our conversation?
Another thing that you have said to me is, especially for Ayala at 4 years old, and something I'll keep in mind for Havana is like, it doesn't even have to be her doing like for like the word mat. She doesn't have to be the one sounding it out, blending it together, telling me what it is. I could just be modeling it for her, and that can still count towards her practice and overall consistency. And that's been very helpful too.
Yeah, there is a long runway before kids are ready to independently decode words by themselves. So if you are teaching your toddler to read, then model without putting them on the spot. They are absorbing, they are learning, and it takes a lot of repetition for kids to learn those first steps to reading. I hope you enjoyed listening to that conversation as much as I enjoyed having it. Now, if you're a parent or caretaker who wants to teach your child to read and write in a joyful and child-led way using tactile materials, screen-free activities, and good books, then go to literacyplayground.org. Foundations is the right program for children who are just beginning to learn to read.